Adam Liptak, you are a nationally recognized legal correspondent and media lawyer. You are the Supreme Court correspondent for the New York Times, where you have served as a journalist since 2002. Your series on how the United States legal system differs from those of other developed nations, American Exception, was a finalist for the Pulitzer Prize in explanatory reporting. You've examined the rise in life sentences in the United States and the impact of campaign contributions on Ohio Supreme Court justices' voting records. You earned bachelor's and law degrees from Yale University, and you worked in the New York Times Company's legal department as a clerk during law school. You spent 4 years as a litigation associate with the New York City law firm of Cahill, Gordon, and Reindel, specializing in First Amendment cases. You returned to the Times legal department, where you litigated media and commercial cases and provided counsel to the company's newspapers, television stations, and other media properties. You have distinguished yourself as a writer in the popular press and the Legal Academy, and you have taught media law at Columbia University School of Journalism, UCLA School of Law, and the Yale Law School. In light of your many accomplishments and under the authority vested in me by Stetson University's Board of Trustees, I proudly present you with the honorary Doctor of Laws degree.
Thank you. Well, that was nice. Good morning. Thank you to the President, to the Provost, to the Dean, to members of the University's Board of Trustees, to members of the Law School's Board of Overseers, to the faculty, to the staff, to distinguished visitors. It is a privilege of the first order to be with you on this magical morning, on this momentous day, and I want to join in the chorus of congratulations. Stetson Law Class of 2014, you should be very proud of what you have accomplished, and you should be very excited about the opportunities that await you thanks to the education you got here. This is your day. But we also know that nobody does great things alone, and I know you appreciate the support of your parents and grandparents and brothers and sisters and uncles and aunts and cousins and mentors and friends, many of them here today, who joined you and pushed you and humored you to make this day possible. They are very, very proud of you, and I know you are grateful to them. This is your day, but this is my talk, so I want to be bold enough to offer you some advice. The degrees you are about to receive are not only an acknowledgement of a splendid accomplishment, they also represent an opportunity. They are tools. For now, I'm guessing that a lot of you are focusing on the near-term challenges, the bar exam, finding a job, paying back your debts. But soon enough, you'll be on your feet and you'll have important choices to make. I've done some things right and many things wrong, but I've still ended up with a job I love, covering the Supreme Court for the New York Times. I'm pretty sure I never paid much attention to guys like me making speeches like this one when I was your age. Now that's as it should be. It's your life. The choices are yours. Let your mistakes be minor and instructive. Let your triumphs be solid and lasting and meaningful and valuable. It's your day. It's your life. But I still want to tell you about some things I learned along the way. The first one, don't make it all about the money. The last time I took a job that did not require a pay cut was in 1988. That was the year I graduated from law school. I took a job at a Wall Street law firm and worked there for 4 years, and I learned a ton. I worked really hard. I was surrounded by incredibly smart lawyers. We spared no expense. We scorched the earth. It was exciting. But the experience tested my ethical compass, and in some ways I think it coarsened my behavior. Now don't get me wrong, You get excellent training at a lot of law firms, and the lawyers there do good and honorable work, but some of the big firms, at least, are built on a set of ethical tensions. One of them is rooted in the adversary system, and I think you want to be alert to this. If better lawyers get better results, and they do, the justice system is easily warped. Justice should not turn on the quality of the lawyer you can afford, but it does. I get a lot of calls from young lawyers looking for advice. Here's the most important thing I can tell them. Get the best, highest paying job you can, try it out, but don't get used to the money. Don't find yourself in this position. You're terribly unhappy in your work, and let's face it, some lawyers are. You want to make a change, but you're locked into a mortgage and a lifestyle that will not allow you to do something else, something that brings you satisfaction, if not joy, and something that makes the world a better place. If you're locked in, you won't be able to be flexible and to think straight when the phone rings and the voice on the other end is talking about a great job in the government or the legal academy or in public service. Leave yourself able to say yes when that phone rings. Leave yourself free to follow your heart. My heart told me to leave my law firm, so I took a pay cut to go in-house. And for a decade, I was a First Amendment lawyer in the legal department of the New York Times Company, which some of you will be surprised to hear was at one time a thriving media conglomerate. I gave legal advice to journalists, tried to get them access to information, and I fought subpoenas and lawsuits. It was in a lot of ways a sleepier job than working at a firm, but I admired my clients and I was happy to help them. Now, you probably have a dream job. I confess that mine was to be a reporter for the New York Times. You may think I'm crazy, that I could have picked a better dream, but hey, dreams aren't supposed to make sense. I didn't quite know how to achieve my dream, which is why I practiced law for 14 years before turning to journalism. But I did know I could at least get in the neighborhood of journalism. So I concentrated on First Amendment law and then worked in the Times' legal department. I once heard a great piece of advice from a judge on the Second Circuit in New York, Judge Robert Sack. He was asked the secret of getting your dream job. Here's what he said: hang around the hoop and hope somebody gives you the ball. One day, I got the ball. One day, an editor had the idea that they'd get the guy from the legal department to come be a reporter. It was a crazy idea. But I took the ball, I grabbed it, I took another pay cut. Now, all three jobs, at a firm, at a corporate law department, and a newsroom, were good jobs. But each one made me happier than the last. Each one was more satisfying than the last. Each one was, I think, more valuable than the last. As a purely economic matter, I suppose I made stupid choices. But life is not a purely economic matter. You'll make your own calculations, but you'll be making a mistake if all of those calculations are financial. Now, you've gotten an extraordinary education here at Stetson, and I want to particularly emphasize two of the school's special strengths: advocacy and legal writing. I spend my days at the Supreme Court watching the nation's top appellate lawyers, and I read really fine briefs, and that leads me to want to give you another piece of advice. Just because you're a lawyer doesn't mean you can't write clear, direct, conversational English. It works. Legalese, jargon, and wordiness hurts your ability to be persuasive, and not only to juries. Judges are busy. They're not expert in every area of the law, and they appreciate a crisp and candid overview of the facts and the law. Writing clearly requires you to understand your case. Be truthful about the weak spots. Cite the cases that hurt you. I can't tell you how much the justices appreciate the lawyer who says of a precedent, "Your Honor, that's a difficult case for us, but here's why I think it doesn't control." Straight shooters earn trust, and that credibility will pay dividends in that case and over your career. The legal profession has devalued writing. At firms, young associates write first drafts. In the chambers of United States Supreme Court justices, young law clerks write first drafts. That results in institutional bureaucratic prose that is sometimes all but unreadable. Good writers write from the ground up. Good writers write every word themselves. The giants of judicial craft are remembered because they found exactly the right words. and they found those words themselves. Some more advice. Treat your adversaries decently. When I was a young associate, I'm embarrassed to report, I did not always follow this rule. I remember one out-of-town deposition where my adversary had forgotten to bring along a copy of an important document. He asked to glance at mine. It was a public document. It was important to the case. He would get another copy soon enough, but I said no. It was a jerk move. Whether I did him a courtesy or not would not affect the outcome of the case. The correct result in the case, in any event, was the just one, not the one obtained by sharp practice and rudeness. A couple of years later, that lawyer and I ended up playing in the same poker game. He was a good guy, and I was embarrassed. After a few weeks, I apologized to him. I'm pretty sure he had no idea what I was talking about, but it had preyed upon my conscience. Listen to your conscience. Your reputation and your conscience are related things. One faces out, the other faces in. They are both precious assets, but they are fragile. It can take only a single stupid mistake, a single lapse, a single ethical blind spot to do lasting damage to your career. The world can be unforgiving. Think hard if something does not feel right or smell right. The high road is the right road. A law degree, as I said, is a powerful tool, but it's only a tool. It can be used for good or for ill. The law, too, is just a set of rules. They're crucial rules. They allow us to live together, to protect our property, to bring order to our lives, to make enforceable deals, to settle our disputes without violence, to govern ourselves. But just because the law exists does not always make it a just law. The great Stanford law professor Pamela Karlan, don't ask me why, likes to quote a Mexican revolutionary in her talks, Benito Juarez. And Juarez, when he assumed the presidency, had this to say: "For my friends, grace and justice. For my enemies, the law." He understood the difference between law and justice. And our justice system can only work if there are good lawyers working for the powerless. Now, many of you have worked at the excellent clinics here at Stetson, and it was probably one of the most satisfying things you did at law school. A lawyer is a champion for his or her client. You can help big companies sort out their differences, and that's all right, that's a living. Or you can help someone facing torture abroad to gain asylum in the United States. That's my kind of lawyer. The choices you make need not always be stark ones, but I urge you to put aside some time for representing the clients who most need your help, where you can make a difference rather than a buck. And in ordinary law practice, too, pause, why don't you pause, when you're about to write a nasty letter or assign a needless assignment to an associate on a Friday afternoon. You're better than that. You have just earned a high honor that will allow you to participate in what some people call the legal system. You and I know that its real name, the one that captures the deep nature of the enterprise, is the justice system. Congratulations, and thank you very much.